JF. What exactly does JF stand for? I have no idea. Do I care? No, because he's not here. This week on The Road Testament, we're discussing Forza Motorsport 4. My favorite driving game. I don't care if you disagree. GT5 lovers, go somewhere else. Today on The Road Testament, Forza Motorsport 4. Everyone knows Forza Motorsport is my favorite game franchise. GT5 lovers give me a lot of grief about it. There's no question that Forza Motorsport, and every iteration of it, is the game with the highest playability, the driving game with the highest playability. I love the Formula 1 game that just came out, but that's a whole other bag of worms. Forza Motorsport 4 is coming out in a few months, and last week, JF and I got to meet Dan Greenawalt, the man behind the franchise.
So simulation's a huge deal to us. We always want to try and do the best we can. But being completely honest, simulation is an ever-evolving science. It is not, everything is not known yet. If it was perfectly known, we would have perfect cars and perfect tires, and we wouldn't have to put all this money into R&D. There are three really big areas of technological innovation that are going on all the time right now in racing. You've got metallurgy, where you've got crazy metal being used in different engines to allow for different types of RPMs. You have complex fluid dynamics and how they're simulating that in doing downforce and some of the back pressure and all the sorts of crazy stuff going on in F1 cars. And you've got tires. Now, for us, with a game with hundreds and hundreds of cars that are incredibly diverse, going from these kind of Econobox Fiestas all the way up to LMP cars like the 908, tires are a hugely critical component.
The first and most important aspect of Forza 4 that Dan explained is the inclusion of tire modeling. People have often said that Forza is more of a game than a sim, and I'd have to agree. Forza's always been a balance between playability and realism, but this time Forza's made a huge leap forward by including tire modeling. Forza has been working with Pirelli to include a tire model in their physics engine. The physics engine is slightly evolved from the last iteration, but the tire modeling is greatly evolved. I can't wait to play the game next month and see exactly how realistic it is.
Forza Motorsport 1, we worked with Toyo. We had some data from Goodyear and the SAE. Forza 2, we worked with Toyo again. We got some more data. In Forza Motorsport 3, we worked with Michelin, and we took all that data and kind of put it together, and we had a very good tire model. We added tire flex. We have body flex. I mean, the simulation is very advanced. We've got differences between different AA-arm suspensions and all of that. But when I look at the suspension models, even things like body flex, they're a relatively easy simulation, more known than the tire simulation. So for Forza 4, we actually threw all of our data away. All the Toyo data, all the Goodyear data, all the Michelin data, and we changed our tire model execution so it could take direct physical data in. And we asked Pirelli to give us straight up test data that they had. We asked for custom tests. And the change allowed us to directly plug in their test data into our model. So when you're driving the tires in Forza Motorsport 4, you're driving their test data with no interpolation from us at all. We're not even involved. These are the tests they ran. This is how it operated under those conditions. We've replicated those conditions. They should run exactly the same way.
The biggest improvement, something that I did not predict was going to be included, and something I think is really awesome, and perhaps unique among driving games and sims, is a dynamic competition model. In Forza 3 and pretty much every other game or sim, you play against opponents, you pick their, driving skill level, and if your car is too well modified, you beat them over and over and over. So in career mode in Forza 3, you could take the worst car in the game, put four-wheel drive and twin turbo on it, and pretty much beat anybody all through career mode by always making sure your car was better. Forza 4 has a dynamic competition model, which means based on your achievements, based on your skill, the opposition skill level is adaptable and changes based on how well you do, which makes career mode, well, I don't know if it makes it more realistic, but it's certainly a lot more difficult.
Some of the new things we have here is the opponent upgrades and the class restriction. In Forza Motorsport 3, you could choose to bring a bazooka to a spoon fight. And what this allows us to do is go into the event and limit the class. So you can't bring in a bazooka, and you'll get a bonus for doing that. Right now, it's not all of these actual numbers are quite tuned yet. And then the opponent upgrades, the AI opponents will actually upgrade to be in the top of the class and therefore be more competitive with you. Now, as you see here, I'm in event list, and so I can change my AI from easy, medium, hard, professional. But when I'm in World Tour mode, which is related to this mode, there is no AI difficulty because the AI auto scales based on how you're playing, and the races are all class restricted, and the AI are all upgraded. So those last three difficulty settings are set in concert, and it allows us to have auto difficulty scaling AI.
Very cool. It's already well known that Top Gear is not only in GT5, but Top Gear's track is going to be in Forza 4 as well. But what Dan explained, which is interesting, is that they've included some of the Top Gear segment challenges in Forza 4. For example, bowling with cars and soccer with cars. Do I think this is a good idea? It's not really for me. But Dan is really serious about one thing. He thinks if you love cars, the game should be more than about just going around a track. Including these segments, which most of us will never get to do in real life, makes sense, kind of. Is it cool? Sure. I'll have to wait and see.
So Top Gear is integrated throughout the game. We've already shown that Jeremy Clarkson's voice is in Auto Vista mode. We also have the Top Gear test track, which has been seen. One of the first Rivals mode events is the Kia Ceed on the Top Gear test track, thus star on a reasonably priced car. But also in career mode, as you're going through career, as you get to different tracks, there's different types of events on them. So we now have autocross, we have drifting, we have time attack, time trials. We also have Top Gear bowling. So on the Top Gear test track, we set up bowling pins for you to go smashing through, and you get points for hitting the pins, and your goal is to beat a certain number of pins. Top Gear is also integrated in multiplayer for Top Gear soccer. So there's a soccer ball and there's a field, and you can get a fox, and a whole bunch of foxes and a whole bunch of Igos, paint them up with our livery editor, upgrade them as you see fit, or you can put in other cars like a big SUV or supercars, because honestly, I don't think they're going to do Top Gear Soccer on their show with supercars because that's kind of an expensive stunt. But in our game, you can do that. So Top Gear is kind of integrated throughout the game. So to answer your question, that track gave us a lot of opportunity as well to do some kind of cool new things that were more fun and lighthearted, but still speak to our vision. Because our vision, while we do great things with simulation, and that's something I'm very passionate about, the vision is to get people excited about cars. So racing, great AI, simulation, Jeremy Clarkson's voice, all of those things are a means to an end. Community, storefront, auction house, all the things that you're familiar with as well, tuning. That's not the goal. The goal is to get people excited about cars and get a diverse group of people to feel like they have a home. So while there are other tracks that may afford us opportunities like that, not quite as many as Top Gear. I mean, because Top Gear was a true creative collaboration with another company, not just with another place in the world.
Why am I excited about Forza 4? Because it's not a revolution in gaming, it's an evolution of a very successful and awesomely playable game, Forza 3. Why didn't I like GT5? It was a huge break from GT4, and a lot of things that worked in GT4 as a player, as someone who loves driving games, didn't work for me. But Forza 4 doesn't break with anything that worked in Forza 3, it improves upon them. I can't wait to play it. I'll see you online.
Ow, we're living in the fast lane, baby.